Hey everybody, welcome to Inner Circle. I'm Lawrence Algie.
Ben.
I'm Tyler Phillips.
And this week we watched the movie Last Laugh on Netflix. It's some like a feel-good type of movie about these old men who decide to have their last hurrah, literally. And one character, played by, what's his name? Chevy Chase?
Yeah, Chevy Chase.
Chevy
He's
Chase.
in the
He's in Community, he's been in National Lampoon, I'm pretty
Lampoon
sure.
movies, yeah, that's it.
So very famous actors. He's a old manager for comedians. Getting old, and he decides to go to a old people home where he runs into an old, employee of his, I guess. Someone he managed.
An old talent.
An old talent that he used to manage. And they decide, have one last laugh, go on tour again, bring back the magic. And I mean, it was an okay movie.
Yeah.
I kind of enjoyed it. I mean, it was interesting to see like a nice little buddy road trip movie with two old guys, like trying to do things funny. I felt like some of the humor was, some of it was good, some of it was just like, okay.
Yeah.
To me.
It was a good movie. It started off really very well because it had Chevy Chase's character talking to his granddaughter, and he's saying, I don't know what else to do anymore. I have nothing in life. I have, instead of working to live, I have lived to work. And my work is done. So he decides, I'm going to go to an old folks home. And most people who get old don't want to do this. So he's hit his point. And he gets excited about it because he's like, oh, I got to meet these new people. They're all fun. Some reason he asks the guy, how are the ladies? And he says old and horny, and that creeps me out. But that is something that is mentioned, and I think that's why I enjoyed the beginning of this movie, because it's just old people having a good time, making funny, and it gives me hope that when I get old, I can make those kind of jokes. I can still get around and be, this is my dealer, he gets me Viagra all the time like they did in this movie. And the shots were great. The lighting was perfect, very high. Okay, it wasn't dark lighting.
It looked like a commercial.
Yes, it was very light.
What do you mean?
Movie.
The way it was shot, the lighting was so flat. I thought this movie looked awful. It was just so boring.
So it wasn't a diverse lighting, but it was flat lighting. It was a hard to achieve lighting to me. It was everything is equal.
Yes.
And I think that's hard to get.
But
So I was impressed by it.
okay. I was looking up the crew right now because I'm trying to see what the cinematographer has done, and I was expecting to see a bunch of commercials. I'm trying to figure it out right now.
I guess I could kind of see what Ben's saying with like equal lighting. You don't ever want to have a movie that all the lighting in every scene is equal, because lighting creates depth, it creates character, it creates like thematics and stuff. So if you have equal lighting throughout the whole thing, it just doesn't look.
Plot twist, this whole movie's a commercial for Viagra.
It was pretty inconsistent, though. You know that there's a scene where they're like riding in a horse carriage at night, and there was just this random like spotlight on them that when you cut to the wide shots, it's not there.
True.
The movie's filled with stuff like that, where it's just like, we got to make this look so like appealing to average people.
Okay.
It's not.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying like this is a great movie, and like, but I'm saying like I appreciate some of the stuff they did. Now, when we get into story, that's where I'll hit hard. But I loved the acting was good. Some of the characters I don't think were really casted right.
The leads are great, very charismatic. Everybody else doesn't feel real.
The granddaughter, no. I was not having her in this. She was okay, but again, it's just okay.
Again, she felt like she was in a commercial.
Yeah.
It feels a little too over the top.
Now, I will say the girlfriend that he gets later, she was casted good. She was a good cast.
Yes, I liked her character.
She's okay. She's not bad. Again, the two leads are... And Chevy Chase is okay. I think Richard Dreyfuss, is that how you pronounce it? Dreyfuss?
I think so.
I think he's the best part of the whole movie.
Okay.
His charisma and just like his whole personality, I feel like... I would love to read the script for this movie and see how much of that character is in the script and how much of it Richard himself brought to the character. Because it just feels so full of life and real.
Okay.
I will say that I definitely felt everything that his character was portraying, like emotion, personality wise, like I guess what I was gonna say is spoiler, but I would agree with you. I think he did portray his character very, very well.
See, I think they portrayed their characters very well, but I thought the emotions were crap.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't show much emotion in this.
They really didn't.
So yeah, they were just like
And you can
they
see
had
what
the
they're
one
going
joke,
for.
and then that was all the emotion you show.
You can see what they're going for, like, easily. It's pretty
Yeah.
predictable. This is what they're trying to do. You can see it from a mile away, but it's
Yeah.
just, it falls kind of flat.
Story wise, though, I mean, I feel like maybe his
Do we want to get into
lack of
spoilers?
diverse emotion. Let me say this, then let's rate it.
Okay.
Then let's do spoilers. I would say his lack of emotion could be more centered toward like his personal story. If
Who's-
you know
yeah.
Which character?
Richard Dreyfuss.
Oh.
Because I mean, well, the things we find out about him, I feel like personally.
Oh, yeah, it makes sense.
A lot of people in his shoes would kind of be like that too.
Yeah.
They would want to kind of just have that, I don't really care, kind of emotional standpoint.
It's just down to the supporting performances and just the general direction where it falls. Again, Richard Dreyfuss, like, perfect, and the character just perfect, how he handled it. I think that aspect of the movie is
Yeah.
perfect.
Now, I will say, there's one point that I'll get to in spoilers that probably could change everything. But, so we want to go ahead and rate it?
Okay, yeah.
I give it a 4 or a 5. I give it a 5, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah, 4, because it deserves a 5 in the sense that there's nothing about it that offends me, but it just, you can see what it's trying to do, and it's just so cheesy.
It's dumb fun.
It feels fake a lot of the time, the acting in particular, but also some of the sets and the lighting and everything. It's just,
Yeah.
I never forget I'm watching a movie if I'm not focusing on Richard Dreyfuss.
I'm also going to say like a 5. I felt like the movie had potential, could have been better, but I feel some of the personal choices they did character-wise is what took away from it for me. And I guess we'll get into spoilers now. Like, one of the things that I don't know, I didn't like it was all the drug use in the movie. I mean, I never really.
I loved it.
I thought that was fun, but
I normally have no problem with that in a movie, but for some reason it just didn't.
the mushroom
Did you-
scene.
Did you have, thoughts of, your grandparents just doing drugs at the house or something? Is that what it was?
I mean, a little bit, because I was thinking, I was watching, I'm like, Chevy, you just remind me of like a grandfather in this, and that's cool.
The mushroom scene where he goes all crazy for like a solid 4 minutes felt completely out of place.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
it just happens, but it just keeps
That's-
going
and
and
that's-
going and going and
And that's
But
kind
it
of
was
the
still
point-
funny.
That's kind of the point where I was like, all right, this is taking a little. This is too much.
Yeah.
Like, I was okay at first with like the first scene, and then when he was like going around like, you guys got some,
Oh, yeah.
you got some weed, you got some weed. I was like,
And I-
okay, this is kind of funny.
And I,
What's up? Listen, you look like some pretty cool dudes. I'm just looking to score a little bit of Mary Jane pot. And stay in school.
I like after the mushroom scene when Richard Dreyfuss comes back to the hotel and he's like, "Oh, hey, you found my hat." Because it's like during the mushroom scene, he gets his hat put on him. Anybody knows that?
Yeah.
I thought that was funny. That was funny.
Personally,
Okay.
I think there should have been more of like a serious moment somewhere in the movie, especially when we find out like dude's got cancer.
Cut out all the driving shots, of which there are too many.
Yeah, there
and
are a lot of
fill,
driving
fill
shots.
that time
I don't
with
think
more
so.
development. There's just too many landscape shots, especially when they got to Chicago, where it definitely felt like they had to hide a camera somewhere so to not like attract attention. There's
Yes, sir.
just too much. of that.
So I want to get into something you just said. They talk about how he has cancer.
Mm-hmm.
Did y'all care at all for that? I didn't care when they said, "Oh, he has cancer." I'm like,
Oh.
well, I mean, they've been pushing this whole narrative. He's about to die anyway. So what does it matter? It doesn't change anything.
I was like, I'm not surprised. It's you guys didn't make that like surprising or impactful at all, and
Yeah, they sucked on that part.
yeah, and like I said, with the emotion, like the character choices, me personally, I think part of that is while we see a lot of what they're doing, we don't really see them bonding a lot or anything in the
No.
movie. I don't think. Personally, I don't know. Maybe I missed it, but when I was watching it, I was just thinking, you guys aren't really connect. Like you guys haven't seen each other in all these years. You're just going around hanging out, and you're not really connecting. You're kind of just doing things together.
They kind of did, but it wasn't like they weren't just like going off each other like old friends. Like it wasn't. It could have
exactly.
been
But I think that's why at the end where you find this out, it's like, okay, this isn't as impactful because you don't feel this connection to these characters that you normally would feel in a movie like this.
And the main, what's his name, Chevy.
Yeah.
His performance when he figures out that he has cancer, he's just like his face is the same. Yeah, it's the same expression that throughout the whole movie, and it
was useless.
Yeah, and
again, I like Richard Dreyfuss's character, and when I found out he had cancer, I'm like, oh, because I like this guy.
Yeah.
But it's not. Can I just get something out of the way?
There were.
yeah.
No, you go ahead. But there's something. Like, come back to me because there's something I just need to
There
rant
was
about.
something that was very overlooked in the beginning, and it was Richard's character keeps getting laid every night, and then it's just like, oh, did y'all hear about him? He's not doing good ever since she died. And I'm like, she died? Dang! And he's just laying there doing nothing. I'm like,
That's
show something.
That's one of the things that is hilarious about this movie, but they didn't intend on it, which is the way they treat death. It's just just kind of an and
Another one bites the dust, I guess.
There's just an ambulance. There's not much commotion. It's like, he died. It's funny, but they didn't want it to be that way.
I don't know. I feel like if that's what they were going for, this movie still... If that's the direction they wanted to go, they could have made this movie work too if they had changed a little of the scenes maybe and like built on that. Because I don't know. I feel like this movie should have gone one of two ways. Either it should have had a more seriousness added to it somewhere. And like especially at the end where he's with his son, I feel like there should have been more of a...
Yeah.
Like it just felt too casual to me when I watched that scene. And I was like, this isn't what I want.
That's the thing I wanted to complain about. I hate that son so much. Like, because he just kind of shows up, and then he's like...
I thought he was fine.
In his first scene, he shows up, and he's like, and he just, like, ignores... He's, like, out of a cartoon, and he's, like, just so, I don't like you. And then he walks up to his dad, and then the dialogue is so bad, and then he starts crying, and I'm like, who is this guy? We just met him.
I thought that was fine, because, I mean, that's how someone reacted.
How does he...
But the thing is...
How did he meet the granddaughter? How did they just show up together?
I would assume because they had known each other for so...
They probably met each other before.
Yeah, they probably met before.
They saw them going on tour, so they knew what was happening.
But how did they... Yeah, but how, they saw them going on tour, so how did they meet?
They called each other. But I will say, the son overreacted. I was fine with it. I was like, okay. But what I was questioning was, you put him in a retirement home, like this is any different. Him going across the country is any different than him not getting treatment for this cancer at the retirement home.
Yeah.
He didn't get treatment either way, so what does it matter?
Yeah.
So I guess there's not really much else to say. It was an okay movie. I know this is gonna be one of our weaker episodes because of this, but I did laugh a little bit at the ending scenes where the girlfriend's just sculpting him naked now. And then it goes straight to Richard's character's grave. It's just, that took a turn.
Wait, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Did I forget something?
It was like a couple seconds after the credits. Or like after a couple credits.
I missed that.
Yeah, no. It has the girlfriend sculpting Chevy Chase's character naked. And it just cuts to a grave with flowers. It's just like, whoa. Okay.
Wait.
Chevy Chase got over this real quick.
Wait, no, she's sculpting a Chevy Chase, and then it cuts to a grave of Richard?
Yeah. It's a zoom in on a grave with flowers. And I'm like, you just assume it's his.
Okay. That's all right. I'm going to go back and see that.
Yeah, that was funny. But other than that...
that shouldn't be funny, though.
It shouldn't. But... Yeah, so next week, I don't know what we're going to do. I want to try and get a movie theater one in this soon, so we may try that next week. Tune in to see what we cover. So I guess we'll say goodbye for now, guys. See ya.
Tell me